Hey guys, this is Candle, and welcome to another gaming pickups video. It's been a couple months since my last one. I think that was what, May, and this is now the beginning of July. I have a small stack of games. I didn't actually buy that much over the last month. I was doing other stuff, but I did get some things. So first up is Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb for the original Xbox. Now this also came out on PS2, I believe. I did already have this on Steam, and I was trying to play it, and it runs, but the keyboard controls are kind of bad, and the gamepad controls are not great either. They're kind of confusing, so I decided to go ahead and pick up the console version, hoping that it would play a little bit better. And I went with the Xbox version rather than the PS2 because, well, the Xbox version is actually backwards compatible on Xbox One and the Xbox Series systems. Although, if you're trying to play it on a Series S, you will need to buy and download it from Xbox Live because it doesn't actually have a disk drive, so you can't just pop the disk in to get it to work. But it does run at 4K. It's in widescreen, and it uses the Auto HDR on Series X. So, definitely looking forward to playing this. I don't actually know too much about the story for this one, other than the fact that it's in 1935 and you're hopscotching around China quite a bit. So since it's in 1935, that means it's actually a prequel to, it's set before Temple of Doom. So, yeah, because the previous Indiana Jones adventures I played, Fate of Atlantis and Infernal Machine, were set after Raiders, possibly after, actually no, Fate of Atlantis might have been set between Raiders and Last Crusade, I'm not sure, but Infernal Machine was definitely set after Last Crusade because I think it was, what, 53, something like that? It's the late 40s, early 50s, something like that. It's after the end of the war because you're going up against Soviets, you know, commies and stuff like that. But still, definitely interested in checking this one out. The only other main Indiana Jones game I will have not owned or played will be Staff of Kings, which is on the Wii. I don't know if it's on any other platforms, but I'll need to check that out as well. I also picked up a couple Switch games. These are actually all imports because North America never got physical releases for these. They're all available digitally on the Nintendo Switch, but they aren't available physically. So I actually imported the. Actually, I could just hop on Amazon to get them, but I got the Dragon Quest 1 through 3 collection. This is from Asia, so it's got English text as well as Chinese and Korean. But it's Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3. I played Dragon Quest 1. I enjoyed it. I don't think I ever actually finished it, though. It's one of those NES RPGs that really involves like a lot of grinding and not too much story. But I got this mostly because I wanted to, A, finish 1, B, play 2, and then 3, possibly check out Dragon Quest 3 before the HD 2D remake comes out. Definitely looking forward to that. And then I also finally got the Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII Remastered Twin Pack. This one actually is imported from Europe. I didn't realize Europe got a physical release of this. I thought it was only in Japan and Asia. But you can see it's Europe because it's got the PEGI release. And if you actually look at the language information on the back... oh, come on. I swear it was on here. I'm not actually seeing it on here right now. Oh, there we go. English, Japanese, French... Dutch and Spanish. Oh no, that's German. It says DE. That's going to be German because that's Deutschland. So yeah, that is for Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII Remasters. All of that plus Italian. So yeah, definitely glad to have this physically. I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan. I was considering not getting these physically just because they're not available natively in North America. You have to import them. But I decided to just go ahead and do it as well. And speaking of which, I also got the Final Fantasy IX, or rather, there we go. It goes sideways for some reason. Final Fantasy IX on the Switch. And again, this one's confusing. Because it's got English, French, Italian, German, and Spanish. And so you would think it would be the PAL region, but there's no PEGI information. PEGI being the PAL Territory Ratings Board, kind of their equivalent to the ESRB. But there's no region information at all, which kind of makes sense because the Switch is region-free. But again, you would think based on the languages included that it's PAL, but the case itself is actually most similar to the Dragon Quest trilogy, where it's kind of got like a thin indent right here where you open it, whereas PAL and North America region Switch cases have a much firmer indent here, so you can actually pop it open. So definitely interested in definitely glad I have all of those as well. But that wasn't all that I got for Final Fantasy. I've actually restarted my Final Fantasy 14 subscription, mostly because I'm getting interested in Endwalker, which is supposed to come out at the end of the year. But last time I played Final Fantasy 14, I finished A Realm Reborn, stopped before even hitting the main quest line for Heavensward. And I didn't actually pay that much attention to the story at the time because I was playing it mostly for the grinding for the characters. But I've heard that the story is actually pretty good, so I decided to start up a new character and just run through Realm Reborn again. I've gotten to level 20. Now, I am still playing this on PC, but I figured it was time to start picking up the console versions. Eventually, I'll get the PS4 and PS5 versions, but I decided to start out with the PS3 versions, which are cheap because you can't actually play them. These are purely basically collector's items right now. So I got A Realm Reborn for the PS3, and I also got Heavensward for PS3. Now this one actually kind of pissed me off a little bit because I didn't realize it until after I went back and checked, but there's no UPC. For some reason they cut out the barcode from this, and they even cut out the plastic in the case, which is like the stupidest thing. Because all you have to do is like pull this out and you can cut or tear or whatever that you need to. I don't understand why they did that in the first place. Because otherwise this is like pristine and perfect other than that. And I wouldn't have bought this version, this specific copy, if I'd known that that was like that. But I went back through. It was mentioned in the description. It was shown in the pictures. So it's my fault for not paying as much attention. I do have a replacement copy on the way. It's just not quite here yet. But beyond that, yeah, back when it was on the PS3, you could get A Realm Reborn, and then you could buy Heavensward separately as a physical disc. However, for the people who didn't start out with A Realm Reborn, they just wanted to hop in at Heavensward, and you still needed a Realm Reborn key. So that's why they also printed these. Final Fantasy XIV Online, the complete experience. It includes A Realm Reborn and Heavensward. And I believe they've continued to do things like this on the PS4, where every time a new expansion comes out, they do another release with everything in it. So I still find it funny that it's called the Complete Experience, because this game has gotten 2 more expansions since then, and 1 more on the way. Although Stormblood did not come out on PS3. The PS3 service was ended before that could actually happen, when they switched over to PS4. But still, it's really nice to have all 3 of these, you know, together. The complete collection for Final Fantasy XIV on PS3. And this actually, believe it or not, completes my Final Fantasy on PS3 collection. Aside from collector's editions, really. I'm missing a few collector's editions. That's it. And honestly, I don't really care so much about those. I just care about having each individual game. And speaking of which, like, the 2 I picked up, the imports I got for Switch now mean that currently, unless a collection of Saga, Final Fantasy Legend, gets a physical release somewhere, then the only Final Fantasy game on Switch I'm missing to get a physical release is World of Final Fantasy Max, and I still need to pick that one up. But even that is not it for Final Fantasy, because of course, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade came out, and yes, I bought this. This is my triple dip on this game, because I bought the Deluxe Edition when it first came out, but it wasn't arriving soon enough, so I went out and bought the Standard Edition as well on the PS4, again when it first came out. And this is, I paid $70 for what is essentially a $20 DLC, because since I already had it on the PS4, it was a free upgrade to the PS5 edition for the base game. However, the physical release does include the DLC, the Yuffie DLC. Quite a bit of fun. I was really surprised to see Fort Condor return as a minigame, and it is like the perfect way to do that original minigame from Final Fantasy VII. So definitely glad to see that. I can't wait for Final Fantasy Remake Part 2, although it's probably going to be a couple years. Like, I'm expecting Final Fantasy 16 to be sometime next year. Probably not early next year, probably more like late 2022, maybe early 2023. So I wouldn't expect to see Final Fantasy VII Remake until late 2023 at the earliest. And again, that is not the last game here. Although it's not a Final Fantasy game, the last game in this video is going to actually be Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. the first proper showcase of what the PS5 can do. This game is gorgeous, and the load times are like virtually non-existent. You've got near instant, like I said, near instant load times. You've got the instant switching between dimensions. Like seriously, it is instant. It's almost as mind-blowing to me as the first time I played Portal, and you could actually open up the portals and see the game environment replicated like right on the other side of them. It is just absolutely amazing, and really, really good showcase of what the PS5 can do. I actually just finished this last night. Took me a longer time to play through it, mostly because I hadn't had much time over the last week, but definitely glad to play this. Anyways, that is it for now. That is my current collection, which you can see the rest of it behind me. I actually just did a count earlier today. I am currently at 953 titles, I believe, and I was at 897 the beginning of the year. So I'm definitely on my way to breaking 1,000 by the end of the year, which is kind of a goal for me. So anyways, that is it for now. I will see you guys next time. So until then, thanks for watching. Please remember to comment, rate, and subscribe. And I just realized I had my AC on the entire time, so you're probably hearing a buzzing, and that's why. So, see ya!